Hello and welcome back to our weekly Madmen with a Box live stream where we're here to talk about all the Doctor Who news, plus we review or discuss a topic. As always, I am OZChris and I'm joined to my left, just Pixel. He lost his doctorates. I think they finally caught on that your degree from Columbia wasn't legit. And below Pixel, we have Gevain from Animated Concepts.
Hello, hello, hello.
And right below me and next to Gevain, we have from Paper Crow Studios, it is Landry Q Walker himself.
Morning.
Of the Q Walkers.
Of the Q Walkers, yes.
Q Walkers.
Now we are here to discuss the first of it's technically a three-parter. It's the setup to the finale for Series 9's finale, Face the Raven. But before we do that, we have a little bit of Doctor Who news. Shall we start with...
Landry, are you dying over there? Turn it off. We are starting with news, and actually, I feel... We've had this conversation. We talked about Seeds of Doom last week, and I feel like we kind of manifested it. I'm so sorry that I have to go ahead and share this news. Big Finish has announced that they are doing a new series called what is it? Planet Crinoid.
Yep. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
It's so weird. This is the second week in the row that we talk about or mention something, and then a day or so later, it becomes real.
There we go.
Like
I'm just gonna say,
I show Landry a picture of the Time War Special Weapons Dalek, and then it gets revealed in a War Doctor box set. It's back in a War Doctor box set. We talk about Seeds of Doom last week, and the day after, Planet Crinoid gets announced.
You mean just after we talked about my pitch for Planet Crinoid for Big Finish?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna say Time Bandits, but I'm gonna say Time Bandits. You know, Big Finish hires Time Bandits to watch every Doctor Who YouTuber stream. They get their ideas and then they go back in time and they make it themselves. I'm not saying it's Time Bandits, but I'm saying it's Time Bandits. So I believe that Landry should get residuals for this because he obviously came up with the idea.
Very clear.
Yes, sir.
So, but yes,
I'm looking up the writers right now.
So Planet Crinoid, the first of this will be called Nightfall. It is written by Jonathan Morris, Jonathan S. Powell, and Chris Chapman. They're writing the stories Sunlight, Sunset, and Darkness, respectively. It will feature Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor in this box set. Reece Shearsmith, who was he in Pixel? Was he in our favorite story, Sleep No More? Was he the scientist guy?
Was he? Oh my god!
Because I know he played Patrick Troughton in Adventure in Space and Time.
That's him too? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I didn't even
So
know.
Reece Shearsmith is going to be in this. He's known for The League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9. So he's going to be the main role in this box set series. But the synopsis of the box set states, for 100 years, sunlight has been a beacon of hope shining across a troubled galaxy, an artificial paradise on a frozen world, offering safe haven for the super rich and employment for even the poorest of laborers. At least that's what the adverts say. Unfortunately for Governor Robert Hoden, one of his engineers has just discovered a pair of strange-looking pods lodged in a satellite. So sunlight, that glittering, verdant oasis, will never be the same again. Because as the Doctor knows only too well, on planets where the Crinoid gets established, the vegetation eats the animals. Now, Now this is weird. I can't remember who said it, but they said it feels like Big Finish just got the rights to like some Robert Banks creations, so Zygons and now Crinoids, and they're just like, screw it, let's just box set.
Oh, they're probably looking at like, what have we not done? They've done Zygons before, though, right? That can't be the first Big Finish Zygon.
Big Finish definitely hasn't. Unfortunately, BBV has.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. But yeah, because they got the Zygon Century Infiltration, which comes out next year as well, and now they're doing a Crinoid one, which is also coming out next year. So it's just like, you screw it. That's just
spooky. I'm just saying this is spooky. What do we want to manifest next?
Sean wants to manifest Jenna Coleman and
Maisie Williams.
Maisie Williams having adventures. That's what Sean.
Only if they meet. What's the Django and what Django and Lightfoot?
Jago and Lightfoot.
Yeah.
if it's with Big Finish, they're more than likely going to, and then they're going to meet the Paternoster.
Well, no, they can't. Remember, they got restrictions. They can't have as many just like characters just meeting for the sake of it.
I was kidding.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Joking. I was having a laugh, Chris.
I can't remember what the full article was, but I think like BBC did give Big Finish restrictions, like you can't make new incarnations of the Doctor. Hence why they're doing a Doctor Who Unbound for the first Doctor, but it's the David Bradley first Doctor. It's not a new version of a Doctor.
Right.
And another was just like because Big Finish was doing it a lot, was just like having just random characters meet each other. You know, you can't have Jackie Tyler randomly meeting the Paternoster gang. It just doesn't make sense.
We don't want fun things.
We don't want fun things. Although to be fair, Big Finish was doing it a lot, so it was getting very tiring that they were doing it.
It was like they were going too much.
And it was happening with Jackie. She's like, here, she meets not only the Sixth Doctor, but also Lady Christina. Here, she meets River Song.
Yeah.
Jackie turned out to be a companion of the first Doctor. I want that. Make it happen.
I mean, hey, now that we got like Fugitive Doctor adventures, maybe she was a companion to the Fugitive Doctor.
Oh, God. Okay. I can't live in this nightmarish world. Y'all are.
We have 50% Doctor Who podcast in the chat. Hey, what's going on? It's wild to me that Clara stayed for 3 series and went through 2 Doctors.
Well, two and a half series.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Technically, 2.5.
2.5 series.
And that half wasn't a good series, so let's say 2 series.
But it finished strong with Series 7 did finish strong.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, and then Time of the Doctor.
Those last 2 are really good. Name of the Doctor, I think, as we discussed, was something that should have been a 2-parter.
Yeah. I'm okay.
But yes, Planet Crinoid. So for all you Crinoid fans, Landry.
Hey, don't forget Gevain.
Got a box set coming out in April for you.
We manifested this. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Crinoid stories that we brought into existence. You're welcome.
Yes, we should be thanking you first and foremost, Landry. They went ahead and they saw the email you sent me like 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? We shelved this. It's time to use it.
Now, I just read the summary, and this is nothing like what I pitched, which would have been the original plan of the Crinoid.
It's the Time Bandits. It's the Time Bandits. They took the idea and then they slightly altered it, so it's like, well, we didn't. It's not infringement.
See, Landry. It's just copying your homework and changing it just a little bit, so that way they don't have to worry about.
Oh, I've been working in comics for 30 years. I'm used to this.
All right. It's time to move on into
before we do that, to answer 50%'s question, Chris, let's try and pencil in an in-person podcast when we're in Brisbane. Yes. So next month, Sylvester McCoy is going to be in Brisbane, as I've mentioned, for his final tour. As I've discovered, some fellow Australian YouTubers will also be in Brisbane at the same time, so I finally get to meet them in person. Let me know how many days you're actually in there. I will see what I can do, because at least work-wise, I was only able to get the day of Sylvester McCoy's meet and greet off. So we'll try and work around the other days.
When is this? Is this what? How soon are you doing this?
November 23rd, I believe it was. So to be on a Saturday.
To guest on the podcast.
We'll try.
You never know. You could ask. Send him a message saying, "Hey, you interested?"
I'll ask his Twitter account, which is definitely him.
Sure.
And definitely not like an intern or something running it.
I mean, the interns can at least ask him.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Sylvester McCoy Twitter account. They're so obvious that like they don't try to hide the fact that it's an intern. Because they talk about, oh well, Sylvester is having fun today, and they take a picture of him with somebody else, and it's like, oh, well, that's fun. But it's always, it's an intern. Like
Sure.
They don't try to hide it. Do y'all think that who was it that retired? Actor. Oh my good God. How can I forget?
Actor who retired. You know how little that narrows it down?
Sure. Like Michael.
All I can think of like recently is just Daniel Day-Lewis, who retired and is now coming back. He's like, I'm back. I said I retired, but I'm back.
Crap.
They even Connor in the chat is like, Daniel Day-Lewis?
No. It was years ago now. I mean, he retired.
Who retired years ago? Let me get to Google.
God. Alfred in the, what's his name? The
Michael Caine
trilogy.
Michael Caine?
Michael Caine. Because his Twitter, he's like, I'll be on here now. And every few months, there's a tweet just sent, like, randomly with random messages. But then he just stops. He cuts it off. And then Michael Caine comes back. But you go ahead and you look at it. Can it really be
going with this?
I don't know.
Where are you going?
Listen, I've had a long day. Okay? Tired. Anyway, Tegan. That's all I'll say. You're taking away, Chris. It's Tegan.
I'm sorry. Okay, but yes, iconic Doctor Who companion revisits character to pen new story, with an extract included in the article. You can read yourselves. We're not going to recount the entire thing. But ever wanted to know more about Janet Fielding's Tegan? Now's a chance. Every Australian Doctor Who fan, yes, finally. But no, Janet Fielding will be writing a book called Doctor Who: The Adventures Before, which I think is just a kind of just an okay title. The Adventures Before. The new release is filled with stories acting as prequels to well-loved episodes, with Fielding making her writing debut with her Arc of Infinity story titled Little Did She Know, which is a prequel to Arc of Infinity. But they will also include a story of course, the Mara, because if we're talking about Tegan, we got to talk about the Mara. The newly promoted God of Beasts, thanks to Russell, which I think which was stupid. But anyway, and also an adventure against a new alien race with which Tegan must fight without the Doctor's help. So yeah, for Tegan fans, eating good, getting a book by Janet Fielding herself.
Yep. Tegan's okay.
Sound so excited, Pixel. How dare you sound so excited to my Australian representation?
I sound about as excited as the Fifth Doctor does whenever Tegan shows up. So,
are we due for an Australian Doctor, for that matter?
Huh?
Yeah, a doctor from Australia. Doctor.
Yeah,
with an
why
Australian
not? We're like outside of America. We're like the next like biggest like Doctor Who fan base.
Well, I mean, I guess in terms of proximity, we should probably get Irish first. We haven't had Irish, have we? A couple Scottish, like three
No,
Scottish.
we haven't had Irish.
3 Scottish.
But I don't know, Landry. I don't know if crowds are gonna like the sonic car bomb. I don't know. I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't know how they'll feel about
The doctor's favorite food being potatoes.
You know what? I'm kind of with you. Let's stick with Australia.
Let's just stay where we are. I think that's okay.
Yes, the doctor with their trusty sonic boomerang.
I would find the doctor, an Australian doctor, fun. That would be a fun one. Be a nice change.
Yeah, too many British people.
How
dare the British show have too many British people?
Listen.
Yeah, but from an American point of view, you still sound very British.
Listen, I really need you to understand this. I feel like it's very important for the character of the Doctor to be able to defeat emus, and I don't think he can if Australian. It's over. He has the 1 2 weakness.
Do you not have emus?
Emus.
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Not like in my area.
I don't know what your personal collection or connection to emus is. You might be very.
I've seen them.
Oh, okay.
We try not to.
I've done.
We try not to instigate another war.
Well, there you go.
You can try.
So what you're saying is that we need emu Daleks.
Oh,
that's like
they'd be unstoppable.
Ultimate killing machine.
Well, if the Doctor was Australian, that's why the Doctor can't be Australian.
The Doctor can be. Let's vote. Doctor is Australian.
Yep.
That can't be okay.
As the Australian, I agree.
Don't do it. Don't raise your hand, Gevain.
No one would know. We've never seen him.
No. Are they going no?
Let's stop the clamours and leave it at that.
What is Dr. Emu? Dr. Emu meets the deadly what? I'm looking this up.
This is the first I'm hearing of this. What?
Dr. Emu meets the deadly dustbins from Weird Who. # Doctor Who.
Oh my good God. There's already Australian media for Doctor Who.
It's happening.
No.
This has 4,648 views.
No.
Again, time bandit.
Here, I'm sharing it. I don't know what this is all about. There you go. Everyone check it out. See, I'm steering traffic to other people. I'm very nice like that.
Anyway.
All right. That's our news.
It's time to get to our topic at hand. It's time to face the Raven. And you know what? I think we'll go ahead and start with the only one of us with a bird in their name or their subtitle, and that'll be Landry Q Walker.
You know I didn't watch it again. You
didn't watch it again? Are you kidding me? You've got to be kidding me.
I'm a very busy man.
Do you know how many shows I have to watch on a weekly basis?
I have a lot of respect for you, but not a lot of self-respect.
Columbo. I watch.
Do you do a Columbo podcast?
Yeah, I do.
I should pay more attention to you.
The Columbo. I do one other thing called Forever Night. Then I do Doctor Who, and then
I liked this episode.
when
you
watched it years ago.
Yeah, years ago. I'm going off memory here. It's quirky. It's fun. The number on what's the number on the back of the neck, right? The timer, the countdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love a ticking clock. In any story, you give me a ticking clock, I'm really invested in that. That always automatically catches my interest. I have a bit of a disconnect when the Doctor sometimes has a blind spot for people that aren't his companion. Like, oh my God, my companion, the most important person in the world, I will freak out about their death. Every other person, you should die instead of her, sort of thing. It's a little more understandable when it's someone he's only met a couple times, but it's still a little weird when he first goes on the ballistic accusing the guy of transferring the Raven over to her and trying to blame him for what Clara had chosen to do. Clara trying to be clever, trying to be like the Doctor, and trying to, but because I thought this kid didn't deserve that. I could go on a whole tangent about the times in modern Who the Doctor is like the amount of time the 11th Doctor is like, oh, Rory, oh no, Amy. It's like, okay, it's a little weird, but I'm not real big on hidden worlds within our world. Like, just around this corner, there's a secret village you've never seen. Doesn't really capture my interest much, but the whole thing was fine. Great ticking clock. Great method of death, and that's basically my take on it. I enjoyed it, but as part of a trilogy, do we judge it also as part of the trilogy that it is?
Well, we reviewed Heaven Sent and Hellbent together because we said it's a two-part finale. But
it really isn't. It is a three-parter.
It's really a three-part, so that's the difficult thing.
I mean, if you want to get into that as part of a larger piece, like it's a storyline that has a great middle. That's all I can say. Like, on its own, she dies and the Doctor gets in the tube and whisks away, and it's not a single story. And it feels like it should have been. It should have had a resolution, maybe one that's not so dire of Clara dying, because everything about it, the conceit, the ticking timer on the neck was all really interesting. And then it felt artificially tied into this other story so they could get where they wanted to. That did not interest me that much. As much as I love Heaven Sent, this as a setup, I'm like, what? It's going on to another episode? That didn't intrigue me. So that's my take. I think I did pretty good since I watched it years ago.
Gevain.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. I didn't think I would as I don't remember enjoying it as much the first time around, but for some reason the second time it actually struck a little bit of a chord to me. I think the one big thing was I thought it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, so I tried to watch at least 2 episodes before this. The whole thing with Clara trying to be clever, trying to be like the Doctor, I think they could have played that out a little bit more leading into this episode, like this idea that she was increasingly becoming more arrogant. I'm not, because it feels like it's kind of like Clara's death was because she was pretty much being a wise ass and thinking that she really that I like the whole way it ties back to the beginning of the whole run clever boy thing, and when she actually tries to emulate being to the Doctor to the point where it's just like it's like death by arrogance. It was just, I think it was something where I like the idea of her almost like having a death wish, especially since she mentions Danny right before the Raven takes her. So it's this idea, it's like they're trying to tie it into like a larger character arc over her time in the series, but it feels a little bit rushed. So if it had, you had seen flashes of her taking these increasing risk leading up to this episode, then I think that would have made it a little bit more stronger. But what I really loved about the episode, because I always like when Time Lord Victorious sort of shows up. So when when 12 starts basically threatening Ashildr, that to me was just like very intense, very satisfying in a sense, because what I liked was the parallel between Ashildr and Clara, in which they were both kind of doing the same thing, which is they thought they had the Doctor figured out. Like they were both operating in a sense like, I know the Doctor, I know how he thinks, I know how he ticks. And when he confronts Ashildr about, you're going to save her, and he kind of goes into that basically like kind of like, he acts like someone who's been around for 1,000 years, and you're not gonna mess with me. They both are very taken aback by the way how strong he's coming at her, and even the way the scene is played in terms of the camera work, you see them basically kind of mirroring each other, getting increasingly frightened by the fact that he's talking about raining hell on her until the end of time. He'll bring the Cybermen down. He'll do this, and that. If you don't fix this right now, and she's like, you're the doctor. You're not going to do that, and Clara's going, stop it, and this and that. I always like when that part of the Doctor shows up, and what I appreciate about, I think, this 3-parter is that it kind of serves as a resolution to that sort of the Doctor. How can I say it? Kind of being tempted to not be the Doctor, if that makes sense. Like, it's because, help me out with this. When it comes to the War Doctor, did he like literally cross the line and not be the Doctor, and then in Time of the Doctor they remedy that, or was that always that he had never raised the ground, if you will?
It's always that he never raised the ground. So essentially, because of the events of Day of the Doctor, they go ahead and they fix it, and the War Doctor isn't going to remember what happened. All the War Doctor knows is that he survived after going to destroy Gallifrey. Gallifrey is gone after it becomes Eccleston, and so he believes that he is the last of the Time Lords.
Yeah. So yeah. So I
forgot about Ashil, dear.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. She
goes by Mina.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't like her.
She wasn't a great thing. No, she's not great. No.
Anyway, jumped in because I'd forgotten about her. Go on.
Oh yeah. What were you saying, Gevain?
I've upset him. He's gone. I'm sorry, Gevain.
Sean is right. The War Doctor is a placebo, though. He acts like he's unforgivable. Oh wow, he's really gone.
I really hurt his feelings.
Now he's back.
I shouldn't have interrupted him.
Hello.
Oh no, not at all. No. I just dropped for a minute. No, you're right. No, with Ishilda, she was not likable in this at all. And it was just, she was very arrogant and very presumptive, and sort of like mirroring Clara in a different way, where Clara was kind of like, she was just like a bit of a wise ass in this. It was just, they both were mirroring each other in terms of they thought they had the Doctor figured. And in doing so, it resulted in a very tragic situation where Shirley didn't mean for any of this to happen, for Clara to get killed. And Clara just kind of had the ultimate, she had to eat the ultimate crow. Excuse the pun. When it was all said and done. When it was all said and done. But I thought that, for me, that was the most interesting part. The way that they really played off the two of them, and how people can really underestimate the Doctor, and how, depending on when you push his buttons, he really can go dark fast. I mean, he can really, really go dark fast. And it's an interesting moment there where it was like they weren't sure if he was just playing at it or if he meant it. And I thought that both Jenna and Maisie did an amazing job of playing that fear and that trepidation and almost that uncertainty. It's just how far he would go. But I definitely have a much more fonder appreciation for the episode. And I agree with what Landry saying, is that it doesn't quite feel like the best setup going into Heaven Sent and Hell Bent. And if it were like a standalone, it probably would have been a far stronger episode. And that's if they had planted the seeds of Clara's increasing. I think, if to me feels like almost like a death wish. So I think if they had played it more into, this was a result of losing Danny Pink, I think it would have been a lot stronger episode altogether. So that's my take on it.
So for me, when I first saw this episode, I do like Claire. I do. So losing her, while it should have been hard, it actually wasn't. I was like, okay, well, let's see how they're going to go ahead and kill her off. I don't know why this time though. I just realized, like, as I was watching, this is kind of a sucky end. This is kind of a sucky departure, but it's because it's not really a departure. Like, she dies, but she's going to come back. All this is to go ahead and set the Doctor to lose himself.
Yep.
That's what he does. At the end, he goes ahead. He tells a Shielder, you're not dealing with the Doctor now. You're dealing with me, and that is before even the grief comes in. He's trying to deny that the death is coming, and you're going to fix it. If you don't fix it, there are going to be consequences. And that's why once Clara makes him promise, and she's faced the Raven, he tells me, listen, I'm going to do my best to honor her wish. She did that to save you. I suggest you stay out of my way. You're going to find the universe is a very small place when I'm angry at you. And that, it's chilling. It is one of those lines. Because the way that he goes ahead, and when they still have that last few moments, and he's like, I can't do anything, but you can. You're going to do something. Like acting like he's on his last thread, because he is, before he's sent to 7 billion years of whatever it is in that dial to die again and again.
4.5 billion.
Oh, thank you. I didn't realize you had the exact number.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 3 rankings. I know. So I don't really care a lot for this episode. I have to admit.
Come on.
So the thing is, though, like we said, okay, it's a part. It's a part of this story. It's the weakest part for me. I like Hellbent. I love Heaven Sent. This is weak. This is a weak opening. The best part of this episode is when you get to that end. But the way to the end, I don't care for the species that has a face on the back of its head. I don't like it. That's very weird. It's too much Voldemortism there. I don't care for that lead through. Oh, she was your mother was trying to protect you. Oh, your mother's actually alive. And it's all just a freaking idiotic trap. It's an idiotic trap to trap the Doctor. Oh, I don't need your TARDIS, but you're going to put your TARDIS key in there to let her out, so that way we can put this band on you. Really? Really? You could have probably watched the Doctor turn his head and then slap it on his arm. He wouldn't notice. It's not like it actually drilled anything into him. It's just a teleporter. Really? It's so convoluted. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the emotional exit is what we're here for the episode for. And that is good, but the rest of the episode is just bullshit.
I can give you that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's fluff. Yeah.
Now it's time for the one to actually tear into it. Go ahead. Chris, it's your turn.
All right, so Face the Raven. Yeah, as the start of essentially a 3-part finale, it's weak. Aside from the end, and I'd say the end's only good because of performances. Like Capaldi is fantastic. The episode does give us his best look, the velvet outfit.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing look for him. I honestly prefer that outfit as 12's outfit. But other than that, yeah, it's a very weak story. I think it also doesn't help that it's not done by Moffat. So as they lead up to a finale that is penned by Moffat, I don't think it works as well. Because at least the last time they did this, back in series 3, with Utopia, Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, it's all done by Russell. So he penned all 3 stories, so he knows how to work them all, leading into one after the other. So with this one, I don't know, because it was a different writer, it didn't work as well. The whole the Trap Street stuff, like here's this secret little like asylum for all these aliens. It's just like whatever. Although a lot of them just wouldn't make sense being there. Like, why would a Cyberman be there?
That's weird.
Yeah, I hated that. Thanks for reminding me. Why the hell is a Cyberman there?
Which makes it even odd when the Doctor threatens to bring the Daleks and Cybermen here. It's like, there's one already here.
Why is he fixing up a Cyberman?
But clearly he's a default. Clearly.
It's just, throwing it in there. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? Well, what's next? Is the Dalek around the corner? Like, it's don't worry. They'll follow my rules. It's a sanctuary. What?
Oh, yeah, Ashan is correct. The last one would be Turn Left, Stolen Earth, Journey's End, all done by Russell. Although I would say Turn Left would just work as an episode by itself.
It does.
Yeah.
It primarily does. The only thing that leads it into the finale is Rose.
Yep.
Is what Rose is doing there, and then the end of Turn Left. Just the story itself of just like Donna accidentally changes time. She's forced to create an alternate version of events where she doesn't meet the Doctor. That works. No. That works just by itself. Face the Raven doesn't work by itself because the whole linchpin of it is the end that leads into Heaven Sent. Because there's nothing in the story that is strong enough to work as a story by itself. It's just not interesting. Ishilda as essentially the villain. She wasn't an interesting character when she was introduced. She remained still not an interesting character.
Yeah.
And I get that the whole point in this episode is that, at least with her at this time, she's very kind of detached and like emotionless because she's lived so long and she doesn't have all these memories, all these experiences because she's forgotten about them. She has a finite memory for an immortal being. But it does unfortunately come off as bad acting.
Yeah, it doesn't make her more interesting. It makes her less interesting.
It does. It really does just make her less interesting. And the only thing for me that really saves this episode is the end. Yep. And looking back on it now, knowing that it leads into Heaven Sent. As soon as I finished this episode, I just left the streaming site to keep going into Heaven Sent and just watched Heaven Sent.
Yep. Same.
It's not like, okay, I'm done. I've watched the episode for the podcast. I'll just go do something else. It's like, no, I'm just going to go watch Heaven Sent now as well. But yeah, as for like Clara's death, I think it's fitting given what arc they gave her. With now, it's becoming dangerous for her because she's now essentially she's imitating the Doctor. She's getting very too comfortable as just not even just as his companion. It's essentially just like the Doctor. So showing like doing a story where that it's kind of shown this is why you don't act like the Doctor. This is why you try not to be like the Doctor, because situations that you think the Doctor can overcome are not going to work in your favor, and sometimes the Doctor is just lucky. So, I do like that as like a kind of resolution to that story arc. Now, I have joked in the past that
careful, but also that he's a little bit more careful than that. And I think that was one of the things that was played up was that she hadn't actually thought through all of the angles. She didn't. Here's
the thing.
She didn't know what a quantum shade was. She didn't, not to the degree that he did. Yeah.
No, but the Doctor also did things like that with Clara. Mummy on the Orient Express. What does he do? Towards the end, he goes ahead and he hasn't figured it out still. He has like some of the information, as much as her, and he's like, okay, well, you know what? It's time to turn on me. And that's what he does. And he tries to figure it out, and he lucks out in the end. But it's one of those things. Like, he goes ahead and he takes risks.
But is that an intuition born out of hundreds of years of experience, or is that just luck? And I think that to me is what the issue is with Clara, is that, to Chris's point, she's imitating something that basically she really doesn't even understand. And even we have Ishilda, who's operating the same way. Oh, because I've been around for a long time, even though I remember everything, I've been around for a long time, I still can kind of outthink or outsmart or I understand the Doctor on a very intimate level. That really what happens in this episode is no, you don't know. That it's almost like I've forgotten more than you've learned, kind of a scenario. So yeah, but sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to jump on you in the end.
No, that's all right. It's very similar to what happened with Rose in series 2. Like, she's being very accustomed to a Doctor's life, to the fact that, like, even like Jackie points out, like you even talk like him. Like, I don't even recognize you anymore. And she had to have the forced departure of being trapped in a parallel universe to get her out of that life, because it's more safer for her there. But yeah, like, I have joked in the past that I clapped when Clara died because I was just sick of her character arc. I was just sick of her character in series 9. Like, I liked her in series 8. She was fine in series 7 part 2, but she worked more. She was a much better companion for 12 than she was with 11. She was just with 11 to do the whole Impossible Girl arc. But I did like her in series 8. And series 9 is like her doing the whole, like, she's coming to act more like the Doctor. It's just like, please stop. So when they killed her off, I was like, oh, thank God, finally. But it is just like, oh, she gets killed by a bird.
Oh, I like the Raven. I like that bit.
It's yeah. Like, everything is a great scene. Just the episode itself is just it's really weak. It's a really weak episode. And like, I agree with Landry. I don't like that. There's like, oh, there's this hidden society here.
Oh God, I hate that. And
especially when they do like, here's another hidden society. It's also very similar to another hidden society, like they did in the Shang-Chi film. We have this hidden, like, magical society that's kind of like the Doctor Strange stuff, but it's different because this is more in, like, China, so it's different.
Right. It's different. I don't like it.
If there are so many hidden secret societies, there are no hidden secret societies.
It's trying so hard to not be Kunlun. It's like,
yeah, it's literally the same. It's just like, the only difference is that you're in China. It doesn't help that the antagonist of the film was a Doctor Strange villain.
The MCU has a problem with hidden societies and hidden organizations, hidden secret government organizations, and just but that's what happens when it just keeps going and going and going. Some things are meant to end. Just saying. So,
speaking of that, we need to get to rankings.
Yes.
So, Landry of the Quinn Walkers.
Well, because there was one thing I really liked about this, which was a ticking clock. I'm going to give this a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I'm going to give this a 6, and that's mostly the ticking clock. I do not like Viking Girl. She's terrible. And as a character, as a concept, I mean, if they had created her back in the Eccleston era and she appeared like every 2 or 3 years as this immortal being that's been bouncing around that causes him anxiety or something, and it comes to a head during this era, I could go with that. But you get in this problem with a lot of TV shows where here's our villain of the season or our menace of the season or a threat. Of course, she's going to be a big deal. She was introduced in episode 3, and now in episode 10, she's a problem. That's dull. It's so banal. But I love that ticking clock. And hey, I got Paper Crow Studios in my website name down there for a reason. I like ravens and crows, so get some points for that. I think that Clara, the actress, I think she did a really good job with her death scene. I thought that was well filmed. I thought that was well acted. So the story isn't what wins for me here. It's the countdown, it's the bird, and it's the death scene. And I agree with everything that was said about the Doctor being angry. So that's it. That's what this has. That gets it 6.
Gevain.
I'm going to give it a 5.5. Yeah, I think I agree with the fact that basically, if it wasn't for the fact that this was a lead-in to the true finale, which is Heaven Sent and Hell Bent, this would be a very disjointed episode. But I do think that the ending scene, that basically the last 5, if I'm being generous, 10 minutes of the episode is really, really strong. I love when sort of angry Doctor. I always say, to me, it's always Flash as a Time Lord victorious. I always like when Time Lord victorious shows up. It always makes for great scene, chewing the scenery dialogue. And I like the parallels between Ashilda, who I agree for the most part is not a great character, and Clara, and just their, I think they both did a good job of playing off the fact that people can kind of underestimate who the Doctor is, what he's about, what he's capable of, what his experience is. And it's just, he's just not to be played. He's not to be played with. And I think it was, I don't know if it was like Martha, was this idea that sometimes the Doctor is like this sort of elemental force that if you get too close, you can get burned. And I think that gets exemplified in this episode. It kind of reminds me of Star Wars, the Phantom Menace, in terms of, I have to think about it. Like I tell people, just watch the last 20 minutes of that movie and you'll be fine. And I think with this episode, if you literally did not watch the rest of the episode and came in like at the beginning of the scene, you would have no problem not knowing how they got to that point, but still enjoying this and still walking into the finale. So for that, I'll give it a 5.5. Yeah, great ending scene, great performances. But yeah, if you never watched the first 30 minutes of this, 30 to 35 minutes of this, you wouldn't be missing anything. And you wouldn't need to watch it to enjoy that last scene.
I agree with pretty much most of what's being said here, but I'm still going to go ahead and give it a 6.5 because that ending is just it's strong enough. A lot of stupid lead up, but I almost understand. I didn't talk about it. The beginning of the episode is right after they've finished an adventure and they're coming in the TARDIS, and then they get the call. Hey, I got a tattoo on the back of my neck. And it's this long, like I said, it's a convoluted, silly trap, but it's really just the tool to lead us to that ending. And there is so much strength in there that leads to more strength than greater strength. Not greater. I'm sorry. I love Hellbent. It's not better than Heaven Sent. Let's not be crazy. But yeah, no. So 6.5.
Yeah, for me, I'd also give it a 5.5. It's a very weak episode that's only really good at the end purely because of Peter Capaldi's performance, Jenna Coleman's performance. You know, they're great. No, they are fantastic actors, and they really bolstered that episode at the end. Just everything about it, even like reading up on it, like when the Doctor kisses Clara's hand, that wasn't scripted. Capaldi just forgot his lines, and they ran with it. But the thing is, it works because it makes it even more emotional.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, I forgot my hands, but what would the Doctor do in this scene with a friend of his is going to die? And so he's just trying to comfort and say, can't really say goodbyes. It just kisses her hand. It's like, it's great. But yeah, like, other than that, like, aside from the fact that it leads into, like, the best episode, Heaven Sent. We don't talk about Hellbent, but Heaven Sent is the best episode. It's great. And let's just pretend just Clara died here and that it was definitely not kind of just resolved in some episode called Hellbent.
So long.
The Hellbent just can't get away with the flying dino. Yeah.
Huh?
I know Pixar's going to say, they're exploring, it's a toxic relationship, they're the hybrid.
I mean, it's...
Don't care. It does not make Hellbent a better episode.
The hybrid aspect of it. It's still it's a stupid explanation for that. I'll admit that. But the Hellbent episode itself still has a lot of strength in that.
It was one brilliant scene. It has one brilliant scene when Clara realizes how long the Doctor was imprisoned. Although why the Sister of Karn lady is there on Gallifrey, I do not understand. She's not.
It's so funny that she was able to find Gallifrey, but the Doctor couldn't.
Considering she's not Gallifreyan and she's not like pro Time Lord either. Why was she there speaking with the Time Lords? Anyway,
so it sounds like Heaven Sent was ended by 2 mediocre episodes.
Wasn't it that she was there because they were going ahead and trying every aspect they could to look into the prophecy of the hybrid?
I just don't think she'd go. Just what we saw of her before. But regardless, I as much as I was excited to see that actress come back, regardless of that, is a great scene in that episode. I will say that scene. I've gone back. The music is on point. Clara's performance is great. The Doctor, and as he's like busy, it doesn't matter. I'm fine. And he's not fine. That is a great scene in that episode. And then we'll leave it at that.
So I just have one question about this finale and Clara leaving. Was this something that was kind of like Jenna Coleman's departure from the series, from a behind-the-scenes production thing? It was unexpected, unscheduled, because it feels like at times that the thing felt forced. I think overall, from if you go from Face the Raven to Hellbent, it's just something felt very disjointed about it, and it felt kind of rushed. That's what I didn't like about the whole Clara being clever. It just felt like it was being amped up for the sole purpose of getting her out the door. So did that play any role in this at all, like behind the scenes stuff, or is it just
from what
really...
I can see? No, she left because she wanted to do different stuff. The main one being that she decided to leave to play Queen Victoria.
Right, which was a good show. If you guys haven't seen it, tragically they cut it short. All that said, she was going to leave earlier, and they decided to bring her back. Because the actress was going to leave before, as I recall. Maybe I'm misremembering the news. Anyway, we got an average of 5.75, guys. That's what this ranked.
There we go. We want to thank you. Oh wait, I don't do the outro this week.
Yeah, stealing my job.
Sorry.
How dare you? Thank you all for watching this live stream and watching our thoughts on Face the Raven. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Remember to tune in next time when we talk about, I don't know,
Doctor Who. We should talk about Doctor Who.
I don't know. Should we?
We really talk about Doctor?
I thought we were going to become the class podcast.
Cute.
Go to hell.
Why would you ever say something like that? There are levels of okay jokes. You could have said anything. I would have laughed if you had said My Little Pony, but you had to go ahead and mention class. What's wrong with you?
We could be a canine podcast and review every episode every week.
We should come up with our dream crossover, Doctor Who and say My Little Pony as an example.
Oh, that could be a topic we do next week. Who knows?
That works for me.
We don't know. We don't plan these things.
As Sean says, we can be the war between the land and the sea podcast. Yeah, the only one of its kind.
I mean, it's a niche market. We should do it.
It's
Jump
a niche
on it.
market. We can talk about every episode and be like, hey, look at the sea devil.
We might not. We might not have watched the show if we weren't doing the podcast, but because we're doing this podcast, we're definitely watching the show. Right? We're all on the same page.
I guess so.
Yeah.
We made a legal commitment.
Unfortunately, as much as I hate the idea of it, I guess we're gonna watch it so we can talk about it.
We're contractually obligated to YouTube.
Yeah. The worst thing is we're not even getting paid.
No, we're
What?
not.
What?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't tell them? Really?
Out.
Which is kind of a good thing. So whenever the BBC copyrights us, they're not getting a single dime.
That's okay.
Yeah, take that $1 billion corporation. You're not getting 5 cents from us. Like, really, guys, come on. Think of the 1%. They're really suffering.
Alonzi.
See you next time, everyone.
Good night.
Bye now.